Week 16 provides the opportunity for both the Niners and the Dolphins to keep their slim playoff hopes alive as these two teams play each other here with just a couple weeks left into the season. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 16 matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and Miami Dolphins. But before we do that, we will want to give a huge shout out to everybody that subscribed to the Tracy Take, helping us reach our goal of 6,000 subscribers this year. Thank you to everybody. And if this is your first time here and you like the content that we put out, hit that subscribe button, tackle that bell to get notified when videos are released, and leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win and why. Before we get into the game here, though, I want to give quick thoughts and prayers to Grant DeBow, who suffered that scary injury. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you get a speedy recovery as well. Kind of talking about this game here, though, Niners played on Thursday Night Football against the Los Angeles Rams and fell just short 12-6 in a sloppy game. And by sloppy, I mean, I'll dive deeper into it, though. It's extremely wet game, one of like the toughest conditions I think that you can play in. I think it played right into the Rams' hands, which is like they have a much better defensive front seven and a very poor secondary. So it's very hard to throw. Miami, they just played a sloppy game, and that was in a fully air-conditioned, controlled environment. And I mean that perfectly by the product that was on the field. Tua did not play a good game at all, unfortunately, having three turnovers. And some bad turnovers, too. And top of that as well, they only 52 rushing yards by the team. Now, they only held the Houston Texans to like 180 total offensive yards as well. So decent defensive performance, but offensively, not the performance that you were wanting at all from this Miami team. The same could be said about the Niners. Both of these teams are still in the playoff hunt, but extremely slim chances. And so both teams need to win just to keep any form of playoff hopes alive here. Want to throw it over to you. What are some of the matchups that you're looking at that can favor both of these teams?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the big one is just going to be Tyreek Hill with Jalen Waddle going out with a knee injury. The reports are that the season is not done, and he will be evaluated week to week for whatever knee injury that is. And so Tyreek Hill, Jonnu Smith are going to be the main focal points for this offense. Devon Achane as well. How do the 49ers kind of combat that? You got to think Fred Warner in the middle is going to be there to kind of help stop the run with those guys up front. You have D. Lenore, Travarius Ward on the outside that are going to be matched up with the receivers. And so then like that leaves Jonnu Smith on some favorable matchups. They've done a really good job of getting him in space on kind of crossing routes, getting him the ball in space, uses athleticism to get yards after catch. So it's a tough offense. So I am really curious to see how this reeling San Francisco defense kind of handles it. And then on the flip side, this offense has really struggled. I think George Kittle, Debo have both been banged up. Brock Purdy, so I don't know if this is backwards or not, but this has actually been like the most impressed that I've been with Brock Purdy, because to me, this is the first year where he's really had to go out and create and be a creator on an offense, and rather than just like a distributor. And 49ers fans probably disagree with me saying he's done that his whole career. He hasn't from what I've seen, but this is the first year where I really go and look at it like, okay, like there's actually playmaking ability here with Brock Purdy. He's not just catch the ball, do the drop, make the throw that Kyle Shanahan tells him to.
Yeah, he's not just the benefactor from having the best player at each position around.
Yeah.
Him. And so,
yeah,
and I can see what you're saying, and that's going to be the really fun conversation, I feel, for Niners fans and for content creators like us going into next year and throughout this offseason is, what do the Niners do with Brock Purdy? Because to me, it'd be like, I agree with you. I think he's a guy that you're going to want to keep to have on your team. But at the same time, though, too, do you want to give him $60 million? Because as of right now, it's like his cap hit is less than $1 million. So you now go from less than $1 million or maybe $1 million to then $60 million, which is now like what these quarterbacks are going for. And that's just the market that it is. And that's just a lot of money for a guy, though, who has been the benefactor from his career of being around CMC, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, having Trent Williams as your left tackle throughout the majority of your career. Now, back to your point, though, he hasn't had all of that this season. He hasn't had CMC
Yeah.
really at all. He hasn't had any of those guys on the same field at the same time this entire season, and he's having a decently good year. He's not the reason why they're 6-8. They have just been battling so many injuries as well. The offensive line needs to be improved a little bit. They've been having injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Admittedly, though, too, they have just blown some games as well, especially earlier on in the season. Their record would be a lot better now if they didn't blow some of these games. They should have beaten Minnesota, should have beaten the Rams in week 3, should have beaten Arizona in week 5, had opportunities against Kansas City as well, even though Kansas City was playing a little bit better then. And then they went on a tough stretch where they were just playing some good teams. Actually, should have beat Seattle as well. So their record should be a lot better right now than 6-8. And so I know I've seen some people calling for Kyle Shanahan to be fired because, like, how can you let this happen? And it's like, to me, it's like, I disagree with that completely. It just because.
Leave a comment if you think Kyle Shanahan should be fired. I would love to hear.
I'm very curious.
People actually make the case for this.
I disagree with that. I just think this is just the NFL. Sometimes this happens. I think that they'll bounce back next year as well. They've just been dealing with so many injuries this year, and I think they have their quarterback, but it's can they come to an agreement? Because, like, who's the highest paid quarterback right now?
I believe it's Joe Burrow. If it's Trevor Lawrence, that's a mistake. But I thought Joe Burrow got the bigger contract.
Dak Prescott is
no, he hasn't gotten extended yet.
Yeah, hasn't gotten extended. As right now, it says Dak Prescott. You're right though. I feel like that's not correct.
Right now the going rate is 4 or 5 years at an average annual value of $55 million,
55 or 60 or something like that.
Yeah.
So either way though, it still comes back to the point though, is you want to spend all that money on Brock Purdy, but then the flip question though is, who else would you go with?
It is Dak Prescott. He signed a 4-year extension. I forgot about that. Okay. So he signed an extension for $60 million a year.
Okay. Yeah, it's still wild looking at this list. Deshaun Watson is up there. You don't talk about the biggest scam in the world. I think it's Deshaun Watson. But
I couldn't imagine paying Dak Prescott $60 million a year to play quarterback for me, let alone Deshaun Watson. That's crazy. Different topic, different day.
Yeah, totally fair though. So, but that's what I think is going to be really interesting with this game. And I think too, kind of coming to this game as well, is there's definitely some things going on now in the locker room that are of some concern. That being said, though, seems like the Devondre Campbell issue is not an issue anymore. And so that's one area that's getting a little bit better. Deebo Samuel needs to catch the ball a little bit, so then kind of make his points a little more valid when he talks in the locker room as well. If he makes that catch in the red zone, they probably actually end up winning that game, for being completely honest, towards the end of that game. So, and he even, I think, started off the game with a drop as well. Things just haven't been going the Niners' way as well. And on the flip side, too, now talking about Miami, this has also just been kind of really rough year. Also, they didn't start off great, and then Tua got hurt for a long time. They've really just been kind of scrapping to try and keep their playoff hopes alive. And going into this game today, you think that they were rolling, and offensively, Tua just did not show up. Defensively, they showed up. Tua just did not show up. And so you really don't know what to expect from either of these teams. But if I'm looking at it overall, the team that has at least been somewhat consistent and more in games throughout the whole year, that has been the Niners, in my opinion. So
I would say more consistent, yes. The Dolphins have definitely looked better at times. Now, with some of the injuries, I think that the Dolphins' offense has experienced maybe not as much. But I would say the Dolphins have had higher highs and lower lows. The 49ers have been steadier. I agree with that.
Yeah. So with this game, though, when it comes to this matchups here, is they're going to need to try and find ways to be more explosive on the offense side of the ball. Miami does. Trying to get the ball into their playmakers' hands. Tyreek Hill, he only had a couple catches today. He had 2 catches for 36 yards. A-Chain had 12 carries for 41 yards, only 3.5 yards per carry. He had a couple of catches go with 35 yards as well. So they're going to have to try and find a way to get into the ball to their more explosive playmakers. And on the same side, too, Niners are going to need to have to get after get after their pass rushers as well, and kind of do something similar to what Texans were doing. Played a good zone scheme as well to make it very difficult for Tua to make his reads, because that's where we really saw a lot of his mistakes, where he thinks a guy's open and then like there's a guy he doesn't see in zone makes just a great play to get the interception. And so they're able to slow down this offense, make Tua misreads, and make these mistakes. To me, I think San Francisco can come in here and go on the road and pull off a victory, keep their playoff hopes alive here as well. I know there's a lot of things going on in the Niners locker room. It seems like that maybe it's just all tabloid stuff or whatnot, but I still think there's a lot of talent there. I think they're having a lot of heart-to-heart discussions this past weekend, especially with everything that happened with Devondre Campbell. And I think kind of where they want to end up going. They're battling injuries. They're trying to keep things alive, their playoff season alive as well. So I'm going to go with the Niners here. They seem just like more of a playoff team as of right now than Miami. So I'm going to go with the Niners here.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins here. I feel like, especially lately at home, they've been a pretty good team. Even if Jalen Waddle doesn't go, I still feel like this offense has enough to get it done.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with the Dolphins here. I'm also 9 games back in our season long competition, and I need to catch up. I need disagreements. So going with the Dolphins here. I think this is going to be a close one. I'm going to say 27-24 Dolphins.
27-24. I can go with that, but on the flip side, I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I think it will be close. You have some high-powered offensive minds going against each other here, and ironically, I think defensively, both.
Oh, I thought you were talking about us.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. Oh yeah. We're really getting the doors beat down to come help offenses, though. I could probably help the Patriots offense, not going to lie, but that's a conversation for a different video. But let's go ahead and wrap up this one here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the San Francisco 49ers? Will it be the Miami Dolphins? Other than that, we will see you guys next time.